Welcome to my wonderful channel. Today I'm going to talk about lies that we tell ourselves that keep us poor. We are constantly telling ourselves lies, financial lies that are keeping us poor, and we justify our actions. But you're not growing wealth. And that is what I'm going to talk about. The first lie that people tell themselves is, I have time, especially people who consider themselves young. I have time, I'm only 25. I have so much time to be able to create this wealth, have so much time to work and be able to build my value. Let me enjoy a little. I have a lot of time. It is true that you may have a lot of time. On average, the average Kenyan will live 55 for an adult and 60 for an adult female and 60 for an adult female and 55 for an adult male. And I do not disagree that you'll have 30 years to live. But here is what people don't talk about. Your early age, or the time that you are 25 to 30, are the ages that are going to create your financial foundation. These are the times that you're going to create a lot. If you kept money invested when you by 20 to 25, that the same amount of money will go to build a lot more wealth in the future than trying to invest when you're at 40. In fact, if you want to grow wealth and are investing 2,500 shillings every month by 25, you would need an equivalent of 4,000 shillings by the time you are 40 to meet the same financial goals when you're 60. You need to invest a lot more in the future to be able to maintain the same lifestyle that you are looking and admiring in your 60s. So when you invest now, you reduce the burden when you have to invest with these things. And remember, by the time you are 30 to 50, that is when you have most of your financial obligations. You are raising a family, you are taking care of dependents. You are now becoming an important member of society, and everyone is calling you to their financial harambes. You having aging parents and you need to take them to hospital. You're having all these expectations in society by the time you are between 30 and 50, and you may end up not actually investing simply because you said I have time, but you did not think about you have expenses, you have additional expectations. And if you come from our region of the world, you know that there are people who are going, one salary may have to support another five people. That is a fact. Your salary may have to depend on five people, but when you are young, when people think that you're earning little, there is a lot less expectations. And when you're young is when you can actually invest. Actually, some of the investments that you do in the age of 25 to 30 are the kind of investment that are going to create the most value in your life. For example, you keep some money aside and do a master's degree or do a degree that is going to allow you to be able to get a certain level of income. By doing it by that age, you'll have set yourself up to earn for years and years in a more lucrative career, in a better paying job, in a better organization, simply because of the investment that you took by the age of 20 to 25 to 30. One investment that you can be able to actually see. And remember, you even have the time to be able to study. Your mental capacity is a lot more relaxed to be able to do that. It is a lot harder for a 60-year-old to go back to school as a 25-year-old to go back to school and to do a new degree and to do a master's degree or even PhD. So, yes, you have time, but this is the time that your time and your money can actually create more value over your life. How safe and how happy would it be if by the time you are getting to 30, you have actually secured a piece of land or build a house? So your family comes and stays rent free for the next number of years. Rent is one of the expenses that is going to dig a hole in your pocket because something you're going to constantly be paying for. And remember, with inflation and with increasing cost, your rental requirements will actually go up. So you'll have to pay for more service charge, more rental charge, more electricity charges. Remember, the rate of electricity is also going up. So many other expenses are going to be going up simply because you are a renter. But if you had took the 25 to 30 as a way of to be able to strategize and to be able to set off some of these things, even just buy land, then you could be able to set yourself the rest of your year into a certain pedestal. When your friends are still partying, when your friends are still drinking, you have started at a certain pedestal time, but you'll have to put a lot more for the future to acquire the same goals. So think about it. The other thing is people say that I do not have enough money to invest. You do not need millions to invest. And that is why if you go to the Nairobi Stock Exchange or any other stock exchange, you'll find there is a value of a share that is worth 2 shillings, even cents. There are companies that have shares that are worth cents. Everyone can get cents. You just need 100 shillings to be able to actually invest in most of the companies in the stock market. Now, if you have 1,000, which most people can be able to get, 1,000 or $10, you can be able to invest with what you have then. A money market fund does not require you to have millions to invest in it. It just requires you to have at least 100 shillings. Most of them, you can be able to invest in these things. You don't need millions to acquire land. You can be able to buy land in a relatively far off places that is not as attractive, but because you're looking at future plans, then you can be able to acquire this land when it is cheaper, because the future may bring a lot higher prices than you can actually pay for. So invest now, whatever amount that you have, but start. The biggest challenge for any investor is to start. So start on your first investment, and the joy of seeing your value go up, the joy of seeing some passive income being generated is going to allow you to be able to undertake even more investments, to be able to pursue even more in your financial journey. So start with the little that you have. Don't lie yourself to the people who say that if it is not enough, then I might as well eat all of it. Stop thinking about those guys. Think about there's something you can be able to invest in. There's somewhere you can be able to put some money and be able to gather a little bit more money to be able to do something. That's why saying that says haba na haba hujaza kibaba, because 1,000,000 shillings is 1,000,000 1 shilling coins. It is 100,000 10 shillings coins. So, however you look at it, it is a million is made of an incremental of certain cents and shillings to a certain level. So, invest now and be able to see your wealth grow exponentially. The other thing is, I do not need a passive income. I have a job. It's good to think about those things, but a passive income, and this is something that people don't understand, a passive income is not like a side hustle. A passive income is generating money without actually putting the physical effort to be able to gain that money. For example, if you have rental properties, you are not going to be building to get the rental property. You're not going to be standing and looking at your houses so that you can receive rent. You can just have people occupy these houses and be able to collect rent every single month. You can be starting to get dividends every other month. You do not have to physically be looking at your shares, physically be looking at the Nairobi stock market or whatever stock market. This is money that you're making without putting the actual effort. And that is where people actually make money. Let me give you an idea. Most American financially successful companies start with an idea. So you have this idea, you create this idea, you create a prototype from this idea. Basically, it is a working program of this idea that you have. Once you have squared it out to a science that I need to do this and do this and do this to make this and this and this, then you start thinking, then how can I be able to produce it en masse and provide to people? You start thinking about how do I produce to people. Then another person who is a financial guru tells you we can actually cut down on costs because now our economies of scale are higher. We are buying more bulk, so we can be able to get the cost per unit even lower. Then you start thinking, I'm putting too much mental effort on this product. I'm putting too much time on this product. Why don't I franchise this idea? Basically, it's people to use your idea to make money and you get a cut of their money. So they take all the risk, they undertake all the investments, but you get a share of the money simply because you had an idea that you are able to put into use and people can see that value. People make money not because they create one product that is expensive, that is going to give you 1 million. You sell one product to sell 1 million. Most products and people who make money from that are not the kind of people who do that. Think about the wealthiest people around the world. The wealthiest person in Sweden is IKEA owners. The owners are making simple products but selling to a mass market. Look at the wealthiest people in Spain. They sell clothes. You sell one unit but en masse to millions of people and you make money. Then you franchise this product and sell to different markets. You make the money. So in actual fact is the only thing that you own is the idea and the production process and probably the source of this components that you need to be able to do the production. But because you have allowed others to be able to use the same product and the same component, you're making some money. Somehow it becomes more passive. So making money without needing to put the physical effort. Remember, you have 24 hours in a day. But if you can be able to get money without putting the time, because remember, time is the most valuable component of your life. You can earn millions, but if you do not have the time, then you will not enjoy this money. The time is what is most important. In fact, at a level of wealth, people would rather have more leisure time and more spare time than have more money. You cannot spend more money, you cannot gain more money, you cannot buy more money. But if you are able to generate income without having the physical effort to do something, then that is passive income. And that is where you create the wealth. So it is a lie to yourself to tell yourself that I do not need passive income. Everyone who is worth their salt, their weight in gold, is doing passive income. Even in business, like I said, you franchise and you make a cut of that money that somebody is investing in from your product. So passive income, because you can only do so much a person, but if other people can be able to do it, you can be able to acquire some level of money. And that is why people who start companies, after some time, they remove themselves from that company. They are the major shareholder and become only a chairman of the board. They are not doing the physical day-to-day work. Then they go and establish another business. This becomes a passive income because it's working people, it's a working product, it's a working organization. They end up doing something else. So this one is making money while they are sleeping. Think about it. What can you be able to do that will make you money while you are sleeping? So everyone needs passive income if they're going to think about growing their wealth exponentially. Some passive income may require you to put on the time and the sweat capital. So you need to do something. But some other income may require that you take some money and invest somewhere and get some money later on. And that is the most accessible passive income to most people, because everyone can be able to save and invest and be able to acquire certain dividends, certain rents, certain interest. Invest in that, and you need to do that, and stop lying to yourself that you do not need passive income simply because you have an income. I always ask people, what would happen if you lost your job? If today your boss tells you, boss, we do not have any more work for you, our business is failing. Look at the thousands of people who lost Microsoft jobs, Google jobs, Facebook jobs. They woke up one day, they were happy, and then they came back home sad. It's because your employer does not owe you anything. They can tell you, go. But when you have a passive income, some sort of income that is coming, you will not fall and go back to your parents begging for bread. You will not be put to shame as you come from grace to grass, because you have something that is holding you, and that is passive income. So everyone should be working on a passive income, a passive income strategy, because that is the only thing that is going to hold you up when all other things fail. The other thing that people lie to themselves is, isn't money for eating? You ask, am I not earning this money to enjoy this money? And it is fine. To a certain level, you need to enjoy yourself. You cannot deprive yourself of everything. But to a certain point, you also need to understand that you need to be free from the grind. You need to ungrind from the system. You need to come out of the system, because there is a time that you will become depressed from your work. You will not feel like going to work. You will not feel like continuing with your employment because of your mental state. You may feel like you need to take a break from this work, but you cannot be able to do it. You cannot be able to ungrind yourself from the grind if you are 100% dependent on this employer. So you need to understand that money is not just for eating. Sometimes you are given seed. All the seed that you're given is not to cook githeri and to cook beans and stew. Some of it is seed. You have seed in your hands. You do not eat all the seeds. So all farmers, if they're given seeds and somebody ate all their seeds, they will not have a harvest, no matter how much rain falls on the ground. But the people who put as much seed as possible on the ground are the people who are going to harvest. Think about it. Simple analogy. If you have one maize seed and you plant it and you have a whole cob of 100 seeds, you have generated 100% more value. as opposed to somebody who has not had anything. So let us not lie to ourselves that money is for eating. Sometimes the money that you have is seed to be able to seek, to have capital, to be able to grow your wealth and become better in the future. The other lie that people tell themselves is YOLO. You only live once. It's fine. You may live on this earth once, but you will live dependence. How sad would it be that you live the lavish life, then leave your children to languish in poverty? Such unwise words. People who tell you to spend their money is people who have beauty shops and people who have all these car sales and all these things that people buy in luxury and mass because they need to people to buy those things to make money, even though they have no financial bearing. You need to start investing because of also your children. I always joke with my wife and tell her, what if our parents gave us a house? They gave us a house and told us, now this is a house you will not pay. It means that we will never have to pay rent ever. Think about how much money you spend in rent. And a certain study was done and it showed that Kenyans are paying as much as 47% of their income into rent. Most are actually doing around 30%, but there are people who are doing 47% plus. So if at least in the 30%, let us be more optimistic. If the 30% is money that you keep your children from paying as rent, then this 30% will be money that is going to see them improve their lives. When you talk about generational wealth, we do not mean that you take your children to fancy schools and nice schools and then they become wealthy. We are talking about giving them some capital to start a business, giving them some money to keep them from incurring expenses that you incurred all your life. So give them a house, they don't pay rent. Give them some property so that they can be able to acquire some kind of income. That is what generational wealth is. You may only live once, you, on this earth, but you live dependence. Do you want them to languish in poverty? Do you want them to struggle, to start from scratch? You need to leave wealth and not just a bill. Leave a will and not just a bill when you die. So all this YOLO, you only live once, and all these things are lies that you tell yourself that are going to keep not just you, but your generations in poverty. The other thing that people want to tell us is tomorrow will cry for itself, tomorrow will worry for itself. And there are people who become religious fanatics and want to tell you that, why should I be worried about it? I will leave it to the Lord. But the Lord gave you a mind. You were given a brain. Use it. Even the word of God says that if you do not work, don't eat. That the wise invest. Remember the servants who were given talents. The one who did not do anything with it was condemned. So you have been given this opportunity. You've been given this wealth. You've been given this seed. Plant it. Create wealth. Please let us not lie to ourselves that we are going to generate wealth simply by doing the same things over and over. The other thing that people lie about themselves that is keeping them poor is believing that they can sit, do nothing, just pray and get wealth. You will not get money by simply praying. The Lord has to meet you at a certain point when you are working. You plant the seed on the ground and you pray for rain. You do not pray for maize that has been harvested in sacks to fall from your garden. You have done nothing about it. You will die in poverty. Even the same word says that a little slumber, a little sleep, and poverty will be knocking at your door. So not doing anything is a guarantee for failure. No matter how much spirituality you want to make things, some things you need to put a physical effort. You need to do something to be able to acquire this knowledge. It's like praying that you pass your exams and not studying for them. You will totally fail. You will totally be a failure because you need to do something to be able to have something on the ground. Then you can be able to bring prayers and all these things to help you get a harvest. I hope that you're learning, you're growing, and you're becoming better in your financial affairs. My name is George Kingori. I'm here to educate, to elevate, and to motivate you in your financial journey. Thank you, and enjoy the day.